What it is, YouTube? Is your boy Nisi coming back with another bullseye of a tutorial here today on the channel. I wanted to talk about a way that I like to achieve that modern vocal brightness, but in a pleasant way that doesn't feel harsh. So let's get to the video here today. If you guys like the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Suggest more video ideas down below. Let's go. Let's listen to the track and let's get right down to it. How to get that smooth top end.
Los filiates tiramos rifles pa' los billos, pa' los muertos ramos. Ya no pecamos, pero se pecó pa' llegar donde estamos. El Dios lo entra solo por más que a Dios llamo. Nacimos herir de villanos, sin prenda brillamos. Está pillo que yo no disparo, pero tengo par de gente con el dedo en el gatillo. En la calle grillo y así es sencillo. Es que se meten en el medio los martillos. Te presto mis cojones. Si los tuyos no te los ponen, no bateo honrones, pero ustedes los bateo con.
Okay, so you guys get an understanding of the vocal that we're working with here today. A very dope type of annuel, type of Eladio Carrion, modern Spanish music, right now. Shout out to all the dope Spanish artists. I love working with Spanish artists a lot. So the most important thing for me when it comes to getting high end, a secret way that I like to do is I like to use high frequency limiters, right? So a high frequency limiter is pretty much a situation where it's like you're using like almost like a multi-band compressor, but you're using it as kind of like a crosswalking guard. You know that when you was in, going to elementary school, middle school, you used to have that crosswalker person tell you, hey, stop, don't cross the street yet, Jit. Wait, hold on, wait, Jit. You feel me? And sometimes, when the traffic went through, the crosswalking person would say, okay, now it's time to come through. So imagine that same thing, but except with the top end of the vocal, you feel me? So this is a great way that I like to get that smooth top end is by using something called a high frequency limiter, right? So when I think about a high frequency limiter and a smooth top end, I'm thinking about tape back in the days, right? So when it comes to something like analog tape, a great gem with analog tape is that you can use it as in kind of like a natural de-esser. You know what I mean? Sometimes you hear your de-esser pumping and, grabbing and being an abusive ass, you feel me, person, just, suffocating the high end of the vocal. You're like, damn, I'm pushing the top, but it just doesn't sound right. It doesn't feel smooth. It doesn't feel musical. And sometimes you can get that with a de-esser. So a trick that I used on this song is I shared, the homework between the de-esser, this first, kid right here, and then also the high frequency limiter. So my de-esser did a little bit less work because he's rapping in Spanish. He's doing a certain amount of R's and consonants that have power. So I let the high frequency limiter do the rest of the work. So pay attention.
Millonario, la envidia lo va a matar. De un montón más cerca de todo mi contrario. Nacimos pa' coronar. Pobre pero no morimos millonarios. La envidia lo va a matar. Aquí somos reales, tenemos un solo vestuario. No he generado que aguante esta corriente. Tampoco hay sentido en competir con un incompetente. Reciben atención solo si estoy ausente. Díganle a su baby que no llamen que no estoy presente. Yo sigo berreando sin oponente. Millonario pero en la mente. El año pasado ustedes se quedan repitentes. Quieren ser yo pero tragarse mi leche no es suficiente. Enrolando Philly con el hash. De Montevideo my watch. Después que tenga todo que.
So specifically because I knew he was rapping in Spanish, I kind of did that on purpose. Another language that's like that too is German. Like German is a language that, oh my God, every time I work with a German rapper, shout out to the dope German rappers, like the way that the language of German is just so much like consonant, it's so much power, like it's so much of that stuff behind the vocal that sometimes when you put a de-esser on a vocal like that, or maybe a certain spitty rap vocal, you can feel, you see how the de-esser is consistently working. Usually you want your de-esser to only work when there's an actual S, but depending on maybe the words that the person is using or the language that they're speaking, maybe sometimes you want to offload a little bit of that work to something like the high frequency limiter. So the thing about a high frequency limiter that kind of makes it better than a de-esser is you get to pick the attack and the release. Sometimes you might have back-to-back sudden shook, you feel me? And maybe your de-esser isn't fast enough. It's like a slow grandpa. It's like it's not quick enough to react to both of those S's back to back. So that's where something great like a high frequency limiter comes in, because you can tailor the attack and release how you want it to be. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll let the de-esser do like the first couple of S's, right? And then I'll slow down the attack on the high frequency limiter. So whatever, the first bodyguard don't catch, the second bodyguard gonna catch. Whatever the first soldier don't shoot, the sniper in the back gonna hit it, right? And another great plugin that I like to use to get that smooth top in is something like gem dopamine, right? So sometimes you might not want to pick a EQ to do the boost. You might want to do just a little bit of boosting on the EQ, right? And let like a saturator do the brightness for you. I pick this gem dopamine. I love how it gives me a smooth top end. So understanding that too, certain times there's certain analog plugins like a Pultec too that will give you natural brightness. But sometimes some songs don't sound good with natural brightness, So there's different types of brightness, different types of sugar. Natural sugar from the cane, and then the sugar that you go to the Walmart and that's already pre-processed. You feel me? So let's look at this gem dopamine giving me some smooth brightness.
Presente, yo sigo guerreando sin oponente. Millonario pero en la mente. El año pasado y ustedes se quedan repitentes. Quieren ser yo pero tragarse mi leche no es suficiente. Yeah, enrolando Philly con el hash. Yeah, de Montevideo my wash. Yeah, después que tenga todo que remash. Mi signo es copión pero me tatué del cash. Si soy caro y
so it's making the vocal brighter without ripping your head off. So sometimes you want to be selective. Do you want digital brightness? Because that's a sound too. Yeet, Ken Carson, Destroy Lonely, like digital brightness is a sound, and then you have analog brightness. But just know the analog brightness coming through understanding components and certain analog model plugins, right, is gonna give you an advantage because it's like a smoother type of brightness. So you could keep making it brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter without the lights blinding you, right? And the last thing I want to show y'all is this dope trick that I like to use. I like to use the Fatso maybe towards the end of my vocal chain, and the Fatso has the warmth button, right? And with the warmth button, pretty much, but it's a tape saturator. You feel me? Just like how I showed you the tape has a way of smoothing out the high end. This plugin is modeling that in a dope way, right? And I like to click the warm button, usually from 3 to 5 pretty much, right? And I like to tap it just like 1 to 2 dBs towards the end as I'm making the vocal so much brighter. I have this Fatso, which is kind of working like another de-esser, right? It's kind of working like a de-esser, but it ain't really no de-esser. It's really a instant a tape compressor, right? When you push into tape, it has a certain compression. You feel me? Even a de-esser is just a compressor. It's just a compressor that's only on the head. Only touch my head, bro. Don't touch the sides. My barber only touch the top. You feel me? So it's a situation like that too, right? So I like to use this and tap it like a couple dBs, and what it is, it's like an instantaneous high frequency limiter, and it has a beautiful way of just like a barber just softly shaving off the top of the high end. It makes the vocal sound so smooth, and I picked that specifically. You see, I was doing my brightness right here, getting a little my brightness right here. You see another high shelf. I'm doing the high shelves very delicately, right? And let me see what else. And then I had the dopamine making it brighter too, and all that brightness. All those kids are on the street now. They meeting the crosswalker, which is the final, the warmth circuit on that Fatso, telling them just hold up, don't cross the street, a whip coming. You feel me? And now that we have it over here towards the end of the street at the stop sign, now this one is gonna hold everything together and it kind of glue the top end as well.
Presente, yo sigo guerreando sin oponente. Millonario pero en la mente. El año pasado y ustedes se quedan repitentes. Quieren ser yo pero tragarse mi leche no es suficiente. Yeah, enrolando Philly con el hash. Yeah, de Montevideo my wash. Yeah, después que tenga todo que remash. Mi signo es copión pero me tatué del cash. Si soy caro y más presente. Yo sigo guerreando sin oponente. Millonario pero en la mente. El año pasado y ustedes se quedan repitentes. Quieren ser yo pero tragarse mi leche no es suficiente. Yeah, enrolando Philly con el hash. Yeah, de Montevideo my wash. Yeah, después que tenga todo que remash. Mi signo es
that just sounds so natural, bruh. Like literally, that plugin is a gem when you put it on a warmth, and it's just like slowly shaving it off. Like when you go to a barber and you say like, oh, give me a smooth fade. There's a difference between a smooth fade and a hard fade, like a hard buzz cut. When you say buzz cut, it's just jagged. You feel me like that? So that's kind of how I see it in a situation where I'm trying to shape my high end, right? Like how I said previously, analog modeled brightness, like Pultec, opening it up. Those have a certain way of sounding smoother than maybe like a digital EQ, like how I use like Fab Filter or using like a regular Avid, or you know what I mean, or REQ. You know that has a certain type of brightness, and it's all about how you manage it. You know, so the Fatso is gluing it all together, bruh. It's giving us that smooth baby fade. You feel me? And it's holding everything together. And when you see the warp circuit going like 3-4 dBs, you don't even hear it's de-essing. Versus where sometimes maybe, let's say if I'm trying to get rid of all the harshness all at once, I'm trying to put too much of too much books in the backpack, it's gonna crush the jit back. You feel me? With that one de-esser doing like 6 to 7 to 8, 9, 10 dBs, it's working too hard. So share it evenly, and that's how you can get that smooth pro mainstream brightness, but it still doesn't sound harsh. All right, so this is the end of the video here today. I just want to say thank you very much for being a great part of my YouTube family. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, okay? And also check the links down below to support the channel. I just want to say thanks a lot for being a great part of my YouTube family. Appreciate y'all now, gang. Peace.